What is up, guys? It's your boy Rick Gakis, and today the Ghosts of the Deep is now the featured dungeon within the Rite of the Nine event, which means there are 4 new Rite of the Nine weapons up for grabs. In this video, we're going to be going over the PvE and PvP god rolls with each one of these weapons and discussing which ones are worth going after, which ones are worth farming, and more specifically, which one should you attune first. And so, let's get started. And we're going to go over these weapons in the order they appear in Eternity for the attunement menu. By the way, get your attunement done before you start grinding Ghosts of the Deep or start opening that reward chest in Eternity. So watch this video, take my recommendations into consideration, but ultimately do what's best for your account. Now, that means we're going to start here with the Greasy Luck. Now, this is a solar rapid fire frame glaive. Now, that does mean it belongs to a slightly less common glaive archetype. Now, taking a look at the perks here, guys, we have your normal assortment of glaive blades or halves as well as magazines. Nothing out of the ordinary here. Then getting into the main perks, well, what stands out right away is heal clip, right? And to some respects, you have reconstruction as well. These are two like extremely good perks, especially heal clip. That's a god tier perk. But is it god tier on a glaive? Do I really want to be constantly reloading my glaive? You know, not necessarily. If you can make it work, that's fantastic. You also have beacon rounds, so you have homing projectiles with your glaive. That could be really interesting as well. Melee momentum is not bad. And then, you know, replenishing Aegis is kind of all right, as well as lead from gold, all right. In the right column, however, you have some heavy hitters. So you're going to have Unstoppable Force. That's pretty good. Redirection is, again, a very, very good perk. You actually have Chain Reaction for a glaive. So every final blow is going to cause enemies to explode. That could be very good. Sword Logic is a great way to increase your damage. I like close to melee as well, guys, to improve damage. And then you also have Incandescent, which is another extremely good perk. So you could go like the Wombo combo Incandescent heal clip god roll here. But again, is that really what you want to be doing with a glaive? It makes a lot of sense to go with something like even melee momentum. Or even reconstruction here, heck, or heal clip combined with chain reaction for a PvE roll. Certainly chain reaction, a very powerful perk as well. I would kind of put it at the same level as incandescent. Both of those are activating on final blows and significantly impacting nearby enemies, guys. It's really up to you. Very unusual glaive rolls here. Nothing is standing out to like me as absolutely broken, just some very solid rolls. But again, it's rolls I would kind of like to see on weapons that aren't glaives. And so that's giving me a bit of pause. Now, at this point, I also want to talk about the origin trait that is unique to all of these weapons we're going over today, and that is Restoration Ritual. So, reviving allies or defeating combatants with finishers reloads this weapon and readies an emergency ammo refill for the next time the weapon runs out of ammo. So you get a finisher, you're gonna get a reload, but also you get like a storage reload. And so the next time you would shoot your glaive and run out of ammo, you just get an instantaneous reload. And so that makes, you know, honestly, stuff like reconstruction a bit less valuable because you can just cheese reloads with Restoration Ritual. And in fairness, I mean, you're up close and personal with a glaive, you have actually a really easy way to get a lot of finishers. So again, you can really make the most of Restoration Ritual, and then, hey, maybe you can, if those do trigger heal clip, get some cheesy heal clip activations really easily, actually. All that to say, guys, honestly, heal clip plus chain reaction plus incandescent, maybe even plus redirection or sword logic or close to melee. Any of those would be a rock solid glaive. If you are not finding you're wanting to reload as much with a glaive, you could go for a more traditional, you know, melee momentum or something else in the left column, okay? Now, moving on from there, guys, we get to the Cold Comfort. Now, this is going to be a stasis aggressive frame rocket launcher, guys. Now, taking a look at the perks here, first of all, in the left column, you have your normal assortment of, launches and so on. Then in the column after that, again, pretty standard stuff here. You're probably going for something like impact casing to slightly increase direct hit damage. Maybe alloy casing for the reload speed increase. Then in the left column of main perks, guys, before we get onto that, hey, I talked about Restoration Ritual. This is where it's good. All right, if you think getting an instant reload with a glaive or the other weapons we're going to look at is good, well, on a rocket launcher, it's insane. And so because of this origin trait, the original Cold Comfort was extremely meta for a period of time. All you need to do is get one finisher before the big boss DPS phase, and then if you've got one round, you shoot it, you get an instant reload to shoot another round. Or, hey, you've got 2 rounds from Reconstruction, you shoot 2, you get that instant reload for a third right away. The original Cold Comfort God roll actually had Envious Assassin in the left column, and you could shoot 4 or 5 rounds thanks to Restoration Ritual in a row without needing to reload. That is insane. So, Restoration Ritual is at its absolute best on a rocket launcher. Now, keeping that in mind, looking at that left column, Rhyme Stealer, absolutely not. Reconstruction, incredible perk for rocket launchers. Again, doubling that magazine so you get those 2 initial rounds, guys. Then we've got, honestly, a bunch of hot garbage here until we get to Envious Arsenal. So, no Envious Assassin, now we got the Arsenal. This is going to say when you're switching between all of your weapons, you will get free reloads for the Cold Comfort. Now, this is an extremely good pairing with, if we move to the right column, Bait and Switch. Bait and Switch activates when you shoot an enemy with all of your weapons, and Envious Arsenal activates in the same manner, guys. And so, again, these perks are absolute wombo combo, right? They both activate the same way. The problem here is that the Hezen Vengeance exists, and it can also get Envious plus Bait and Switch, and its origin trait will actually give you 2 rounds in the mag after using your super for like 30 seconds straight. So it is just going to do way more damage than the Cold Comfort. In terms of some other interesting rolls, I mean, if you do use Bipod, then remember you can cheese Restoration Ritual a bit harder because that reload will reload 2 rounds into the mag thanks to Bipod. Overall, guys, unfortunately, I actually think that the original Cold Comfort God roll involving Envious Assassin might actually be better because at least it's unique. It's doing those 4 or 5 rounds in a row that other rocket launchers can't do. There's a lot of rocket launchers now that can get Envious plus Bait and Switch. But overall, it is going to be either Bait and Switch plus Reconstruction or Envious Arsenal for the PvE God roll. There are some other interesting perks, again, including Bipod if you want to shoot a ton of rounds, actually. Elemental Honing for a damage increase. Explosive Light for a, pretty consistent damage increase that doesn't require you to switch between all your weapons. Those are both some good options as well. And honestly, Chill Clip, you can do some interesting things with Chill Clip, especially if you do get the instant reload from Restoration Ritual. Like, you'll Chill Clip trigger instant reload, Chill Clip hit for the second hit, which will freeze, get the shatter right away. Could be good. Now, moving on from there, we have the new Pacific Epitaph. This is going to be a stasis wave frame grenade launcher. Now, we have our normal assortment of barrels, launches, whatever. You only get implosion rounds or high velocity in the next column, high velocity being the better one in my opinion. And then, guys, I'm actually going to skip to the right column because you get chain reaction. Now, the original Waveframe Grenade Launcher with Chain Reaction, the Forbearance, which was a raid weapon, was so good it warped the meta around it. Because it was so good, Bungie has actually nerfed Chain Reaction's effectiveness on secondary weapons, in total, or special weapons in total, I should say. And so it's still going to be amazing. Any Waveframe with Chain Reaction is still going to be extremely good. It's just not going to be anywhere near as good as the original Forbearance God roll, if you're remembering that. So don't think this is another Forbearance. Even the Forbearance isn't another Forbearance at this point. So we also have in the right column Kill clip, actually super easy to activate with a grenade launcher. You're going to be reloading after every single shot. Keep that in mind. Elemental honing for damage increase. Sword logic for damage increase. Redirection might be really saucy here because waveframes are so good at killing ads. You know, you're killing ads, and then if a yellow bar gets caught up in it, you're going to absolutely crank that yellow bar with a ton of damage. And then you have Adrenaline Junkie, which is okay. Keep in mind that Restoration Ritual is actually pretty good with waveframes as well, kind of cheesing an extra round into the mag. Then in the left column, we actually don't have a ton of amazing things here. I mean, you really don't want to use Envious Arsenal on this type of weapon. Unrelenting could actually be really good because you can easily activate it by getting like 3 red bar kills in one single shot. Rhyme Sealer, no thank you. Lead from Gold, it's all right. Demolitionist is probably the best overall perk here. Just getting a ton of grenade energy back, and also you can cheese a reload by throwing a grenade. So you shoot, throw a grenade, and you can shoot again right away. Recycled energy is actually not going to be terrible on a waveframe because, again, you're reloading after every shot, but I think you're going with Demolitionist here, and then probably you're pairing that with Chain Reaction and maybe Redirection. I think that is the best overall roll. Demolitionist plus Chain Reaction. Now, keep in mind, again, we don't get a lot of Stasis Wave Frame Grenade Launchers. In fact, I think the original New Pacific Epitaph is like the only other one, at least the one I can remember right now. So that is still a very, very solid weapon, right? Demo plus Chain Reaction is absolutely no joke, especially in PvE, and that is going to be doing very well, right? Again, the problem is that Chain Reaction did catch that nerf, so it's not on that like beyond god tier insane level anymore, and you could argue that Demolitionist isn't quite as good as Ambitious Assassin like the original Forbearance God roll was. Keep in mind, I do want to also mention Gravity Well, which is the Rite of the 9 origin trait. Reloading this weapon automatically gathers nearby ammo. Again, with a wave frame that you're reloading literally after every single shot, Gravity Well unironically could be quite good here, just sucking up all the nearby ammo as you're using this weapon normally. All right, guys, but moving on from there, we get to the no survivors. Now, this is going to be a solar aggressive frame SMG. Now, taking a look at the perks here, guys, we have kind of our normal assortment of barrels here. In this case, however, because it's aggressive frame, you could go with something like Hammer Forge to really improve that even more. It's already got good range. You could give it some pretty insane range. There are some good PvP god rolls this time. Or Small Bore is a great one as well. For PvE, you honestly might want something like Arrowhead Break to calm down that recoil to make it more controllable. Then in the next column, guys, honestly, I think kind of the one you're going for here is like Ricochet rounds, just for those big stat increases for both PvE and PvP. There's an argument for Flared Magwell as well, because I'll say in the left column, let's skip ahead, it can get Heal Clip. This is a huge deal. Now, unlike the Greasy Luck, having Heal Clip on an SMG is a massive deal, guys. And not only can it get Heal Clip, it can get Heal Clip plus Incandescent. This is an incredibly good PvE god roll. This is S+ tier in terms of the perk quality. And in fact, this is the first time ever in the history of Destiny 2 that you can get Incandescent plus Heal Clip on an SMG. So if you think there are other weapons with this perk combo, stuff like the Heliocentric right here, this is a super popular weapon, and it's not because people like using lightweight frame sidearms, it's because this perk combo, Heal Clip plus Incan, is so good that even though it's just a lightweight frame sidearm, it propels this weapon into the meta because everyone wants this perk combo, right? There's also the rocket-assisted frame sidearm that can get this combo. There's a pulse rifle from the most recent raid can get this combo. And like all of those weapons, like usually people are running this combo. It's that good. But finally finding it on just a normal SMG, not having to use a sidearm or, you know, a pulse rifle or whatever, having it on a pretty meta SMG is a really big deal. And so I think again, we're kind of going ahead of the alternative roles and other perks here, but I'm just going to say that Heal Clip plus Incan is possibly the most desirable overall god roll out of any Rite of the Nine weapon, period. Like, it kind of depends how this thing performs and how good an aggressive frame performs with that roll, but my goodness, finally getting that roll on a normal, meta weapon archetype is a big deal, guys. And again, you might just want ricochet rounds to go with it, or again, flared mag will simply to give you better reloads so you can get that heal clip activation off faster. That's a big deal. Honestly, you don't want the extended mags because they give, 3 extra rounds? Who cares about that? Aside from that, guys, another interesting one is attrition orbs. Another extremely meta perk. If you're wondering, does that work with incandescent? From what I've seen, no. It's going to work from normally shooting your weapon, but the scorch won't actually count towards attrition orbs, unfortunately. Now, if you don't want incan, heal clip plus master of arms plus sword logic, these are decent rolls as well. But I think also in the left column, I do have to shout out demolitionist. Like demo plus incan is pretty saucy too, to be honest. But overall, I think it's got to be heal clip plus incan. Incredible roll, the god roll for PvE. Again, out of any Rite of the Nine weapon. Like, I'm going to be focusing this, I'm going to be attuning this to try to get that roll as soon as possible. Now, I do want to mention the PvP god roll. Finally, we have a weapon that actually could reasonably see some PvP play, and you're definitely going for something like Hammer Forge. You want that range, ricochet, or honestly, small bar is great as well. Ricochet rounds for those stats, possibly high cal rounds for the flinch increase, and then you've actually got rangefinder in the left column, which is a bit more rare, guys, and then you can combine that with target lock. I mean, honestly, if you get like a range masterwork, and if you get the adept version, so you get a range masterwork, you can put on adept range as a mod, you get hammer forged, ricochet rounds, rangefinder, you are going to be mapping people. Like, that's an insane amount of range combined with target lock for that damage increase, or again, possibly even Master of Arms could be juicy, or even Zen Moment. Like, if you want to turn this thing into a laser beam, Zen Moment is a juicy one as well, guys. Or honestly, Sword Logic is still a great way to increase your damage here, guys. So overall, some very good PvP god rolls as well, as long as you get those monster range stats from the first two columns. So guys, there you have it. Overall, I think it's a no-brainer. Attune, no survivors. First, phenomenal weapon with some really juicy PvE and PvP rolls. The other weapons actually have some solid rolls. I would say second place is probably that new Pacific Epitaph with the demo plus chain reaction roll, just to get like that type of god roll. A chain reaction waveframe in stasis could be a big deal. But that's kind of about it. Unfortunately, the Cold Comfort is just displaced by other god tier rocket launchers, and the Greasy Luck, I mean, glaives are still in a weird spot. People either absolutely love them and they're doing super well, or they see no play and there's like no in between. Guys, that's it for the video. Hope you enjoyed and found this informative. If you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickCacus. That is linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.